Very good at that, turning over its opponents through their first 8 games.
Yes, and easy baskets could mean, a good lead for the Shockers. And so I think that's HCU. They're going to have to stick around in the ball game and take care of the ball, like you said.
Carla Fountain, Crystal Apollones, and Leah Laney, the officials for tonight's game. It's the Huskies at 3-5 out of the Southland. Southeastern Louisiana was here about a week ago and walked out of here with an impressive victory. They were just suffocating defensively against Wichita State. HCU will get the ball first. There's an international flair to these Huskies. 7 foreign-born players for their head coach, Donna Finney. They're picked to finish in a tie for 5th in the Southland.
And Yankin initially drew the role of trying to guard
D. Collins?
D. Collins,
yeah.
Yes, sorry. But then they've switched off.
Joe Ollie, one of those foreign-born players, she's got it now in the keyhole trying to post up against Niankin, but Niankin pushed her all the way out on the floor. 5 to shoot. Huskies got to hustle now, and they are not going to get it off. So a shot clock violation, and now Wichita State gets the ball back. And for the second straight game, Tracy, they'll go with the starting lineup that was necessitated by a couple of injuries. 2 games ago, you had DJ McCarty and Jayla Murray both out. McCarty's back, but she's going to come off the bench. Meanwhile, Jayla Murray is going to be out for a second straight game with a couple of fractures in her nose. She's waiting for a fitted mask before she suits back up again, and probably wisely so. In the game of basketball, you get cracked across the bridge of the nose. Probably need to wait for a mask before you get back out there.
And if you've ever had to play with that, that's really hard. Even with the mask, it's hard to get used to that mask. Your vision's impaired.
Kennedy Wilson missed on a short jumper for the Huskies. And Janiah Thompson, who was fresh off a 15-rebound game against SLU, picked up her first rebound, but also double-dribbled in backcourt. So a little bit of a sluggish start for Wichita State offensively. Tracy, and a team that never trailed against St. Louis, and they were coming off a really tough outing against Southeastern the game before that.
Yes, it was a great rebounding game for them across the board, not just rebounding in itself, but their efficiency on offense was what impressed me the most, because I think they had struggled early in the season to put up points consistently.
Yeah, and they made scoring look pretty easy against St. Louis.
Yes, and they hit threes, which helps.
Also helped score 27 points in the fourth quarter, which
yes.
is what they did against a team in St. Louis that can really come back. Now, meanwhile, HCU has pretty much whipped the 3 non-Division I schools that they've played. But the D1s on the road that they have played include the likes of Rice, Virginia Tech, Texas A&M, and Texas Tech. And in those games, only the Sam Houston game was a close one. They lost a nail-biter by 2 to Sam Houston State on the road. And that's the first basket of the game as HCU gets out first, 2-0.
Great assist by McGuire. Little backdoor cut. Shockers like to overplay. Put the bounce pass exactly where it needed to go.
D. Collins averages about 12.5 points a game. The high banker by Niankin wouldn't go. The putback by Abias wouldn't go. She thought she was fouled, but a loose ball that kind of trickled away from a couple of Huskies will keep it on this end. Amy Cotton, one of those international players from South Australia, had it dribble off her hand and out of bounds. So Wichita State will kind of steal a possession here.
And the Huskies are in man-to-man.
Treasure Jobe, who had a really good scoring night against St. Louis, misses her first shot. Defensive rebound pulled down by D. Collins. Collins, 12.5 points, 5.5 rebounds per. She's already in the 1,000-point club. Native of Mansfield, Texas. There are 2 players on this team in the starting lineup that played not only in high school together, but here for 4 years together.
That's amazing. Wilson and Collins, yes.
Joe
Quite the tandem. I think they know each other a little bit.
I would say so. They played over 5,000 minutes combined for the Huskies, those 2 players from Mansfield, Texas. A little more than 3 minutes gone by. Jobe tries again, misfires again. All alone for the rebound was Amy Cotton.
But that's a shot that Coach Nooner wants Treasure to take. And she's usually money. Good execution on their ball screens. They just haven't been able to knock it down.
Collins drew a lot of attention and fired it into the Shocker bench. This HCU team, not unlike Southeastern Louisiana when they came in here, because Southeastern Louisiana played a couple of non-division ones and really put it to them, but then struggled against the D1s. So we didn't really know what we had in the Lions other than the preseason Southland favorites. But all they did was come in here and hold Wichita State to 36 points. So they showed that they were certainly for real. And now HCU is trying to do the same thing here tonight. In their first of 2 games in the state of Kansas, that's going to be an offensive foul on the Huskies. So we're almost 4 points in, or 4 minutes in, and we only have 2 combined points.
Yeah, a little sloppy on, especially on the both ends of the court. A couple of turnovers.
5 altogether, 3 on Wichita State, 2 on the Huskies. DJ McCarty is going to check in at next opportunity. Thompson got loose, but the little line drive 13-footer was short, and Wichita State has misfired on their first 6.
Shockers need to get the ball to go, side to side, east to west, but it's getting on one side of the floor, and it's not making that defense shift. Good pressure by Slavla.
So here comes DJ McCarty. She missed her last game due to injury. Comes in averaging 8 points a game. She is within shouting distance of 1,000 points. Told you that D. Collins for HCU already there. DJ McCarty needs only 145 more points to get to 1,000 in her Shocker career. She had 19 in the regular season opener against Oklahoma. Celeste Blow, very talented freshman, handling it right now. She's also in the game for Wichita State. And an offensive foul. It's going to be a moving screen on Daniela Abias.
But that really is, that should, if you could have an assist on a foul, that should go on Treasure, because Treasure didn't wait until Abias was set, and so she got called for that offensive foul, which was the correct call. But guards need to make sure that their post player is set before they go off of ball screens.
Seems like it happens multiple times a game.
Yes, yeah. It does.
Joe poked that out of bounds. Almost midway through the quarter. Not quite like it was against St. Louis for Wichita State. That was a high-scoring quarter in which Wichita State got out early. Collins had it stripped, and DJ McCarty comes away with the steal.
Good hands. Good look by Cotton on that entry pass.
Back cut by Job. She's cut off. Niankin comes to help her out.
HCU plays different, a little different man-to-man principles than Wichita State. They're going to play more contained, keep the ball out on the perimeter.
Celeste Blow missed a couple of opportunities. Now back in transition, one of the McGuire sisters. They're from Belfast, Northern Ireland. Enya McGuire. She plays quite a bit more than her sister Erin. She was a starting point guard. Enya, number 0. Here's Kennedy Wilson. There's McGuire, a right side 3 wouldn't go. One and done on the offensive end.
She's her best 3-point shooter, so that's a good shot for her to take.
Abias missed in transition.
Good decision.
She'll try again, and from 17 she buries it. Enya McGuire averaging a little over 8.5 points per game.
I think a lot of young players, Shane, in that situation would have tried to force the contact on that 3-on-2 break. Good decision for the pull-up.
Blow leaves underneath for Abias. That pass is deflected. Boy, HCU really active in the lane. McCarty wants a 3. That wouldn't go. Shockers have missed their first 10 shots from the floor, yet they're only down 4. Left side 3 off the heel, no good. And we are well underneath the media timeout for the next dead ball. We just haven't had one yet.
Yeah, not a lot of whistles.
Abias banks it in. So the lid comes off the basket for Wichita State. Daniela Abias averaging a little over 12 a game, gets her first 2.
I just don't think Cotton can play Abias one-on-one. She's going to have to get a little help inside because Abias has too many options offensively for her to defend.
Enya McGuire just ran away from Treasure Joe, but couldn't knock down the jumper. Little teardrop from DJ McCarty. It's almost as if she didn't have any other options, so she was just determined to take it by herself. She ties the game.
Yeah, she was looking for Niankin to roll, I think, and Niankin, instead of rolling, popped, and the defender stayed back in the lane, so she did the little floater teardrop.
Collins rolls it in over the front of the rim. Dee Collins has 4. She had 14 in a losing effort against Texas Tech a couple of nights ago.
Good pass over the top and a little high-low.
Joe pulls up and hits a little rainbow jumper. She is very good at the mid-range, isn't she?
She is. Very smooth.
Coming off a 24-point game against St. Louis. And we're going to get all the way inside 2 minutes of the quarter before our media timeout.
I think both teams are a little tired.
I would think. Wilson banks it in. I'm a little surprised one of the coaches hasn't called the 30, because we're going to get a timeout at the next dead ball, and then, poof, the quarter will be over.
It will be.
Finally a whistle. So we played 8.5 minutes on the clock in 13 minutes in real time. It's 8-6 HCU.
A first child can be stressful.
State under head coach Terry Nooner. Each of their next games, the opponent is the same. HCU goes to Lawrence to play Kansas on Wednesday. And then on Sunday, Kansas will come here. So Wichita State will have some extended time off until before they play Kansas. HCU will just leave from here and go to Lawrence and play KU in a couple of days. Meanwhile, Wichita State trying to take its first lead of the game. McCarty with a high degree of difficulty, but she got fouled, and she'll go to the free throw line. So Wichita State electing to go with DJ McCarty off the bench. She is the leader, Tracy, in pretty much every offensive category as it pertains to returning players, minutes, games, points, you name it. She is, in this day and age of college basketball, been here a long, long time.
Yeah, and she does a lot of things, but I think the thing that she really emphasizes the most is her defensive presence. She's very quick, anticipates. You have to always know where she is on the floor because she likes to stick her hands in, very good at stealing the basketball. So she just changes their whole defensive aurora as far as the team goes.
She's guarding Kennedy Wilson, who averages about 11 points a game. Nice fall away from Amy Cotton. That's her first bucket. She doesn't score much. And none of them scored much against Texas Tech. That was a 79-34 game won by the Red Raiders. And in none of the previous 5 road games, Ella Ancio cleared out. Cotton falls down in a heap in the lane. But in all the games that they have played away from home, HCU hasn't gotten out of the 40s as far as points scored so far. So you'd have to say that this is a borderline win the first 10 minutes, up 3 against Wichita State on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And she hasn't gone to her bench yet, and her starters are staying out of foul trouble. They're keeping the ball in front, forcing Shockers to take shots outside of the paint. And the Shockers like to live in the paint.
Cotton a 3, that's off the heel. Niankin all alone for the rebound. This will count if it goes. DJ McCarty left it a little bit short. So it's a defensive struggle in the first quarter, but advantage HCU. The Huskies lead it by 3. Sports is a perfect example of why there's not. Wichita State's coming off a game in which they scored 78 points and made it look easy in doing so. HCU, meanwhile, against Texas Tech only scored 34 points. And while their shooting percentage wasn't much to write home about, they had 10 points in that first quarter and they lead Wichita State by 3.
And they've pretty much gotten any shot that they wanted. So Shockers need to increase their defensive intensity. But I think HCU's done a good job if they've rotated the ball side to side and made that defense shift to kind of alleviate some of the WSU pressure. And as I say that, now they good over the top.
Reverse layup is good by Cotton. Amy Cotton with a couple of buckets here in the early going. She was 0 for 5 in the game against Texas Tech.
Great pass by Dee Collins. Put that ball exactly where only the offensive player could get to it.
Niankin partially blocked. That was out of bounds. And I think that was Amy Cotton that got the block. So Cotton's been really active for the Huskies. Niankin comes out. Daniela Avias got a brief rest after the quarter break. Celeste Blow, really talented freshman, tries to beat the clock, and just as good. She got a foul called, and she goes to the free throw line. That was going to be a pretty low percentage kind of shot with 3 on the shot clock with the left hand.
Yeah, Dee Collins is upset with herself because she knows she kind of built Blow out of that situation. It was going to be a poor shot.
Celeste Blow had 17 points and 4 rebounds against St. Louis. She had 20 against Dayton earlier this year. True freshman from the state of Texas. Not many true freshmen come in and make scoring look at as easy as she has in the first 8 games of her Shocker career.
And she's got that offensive mentality. Likes to shoot it, can put it on the floor, has some range. She needs to improve her three-point shooting, but she's going to be a good one if she can stick with it.
Good post passing. That was Ollie to Collins. And Dee Collins, one of a handful of players for HCU in the 6 foot to 6'1" range that can do a little bit of everything. Pretty versatile.
Yes.
And she was really crafty around the rim on a nice pass from Joe Ollie, the sophomore from Luxembourg.
And the thing I like about Collins is she's under control. Her body movements, you know, it looks sometimes like she's not even pressing because she's just so fluid, and she's always in control of what she's doing.
Shockers had to try to beat the shot clock that time and rushed a shot. Huskies by 4. Cotton had a 3 if she wanted it. Left wide open left side for a 3 was Kennedy Wilson. No good. That's now 0 for 7 from 3 for HCU. Neither one of these teams most of the time going to make a living shooting threes. And a little hesitation, a little teardrop from the right side, and DJ McCarty draws another foul.
The Shockers have gone to a little side ball screen with Obvious and McCarty, and good hesitation by McCarty coming off that ball screen.
Fouls against Kennedy Wilson. McCarty will go to the free throw line. And the first one's up and good. She's got 6 points here in the early going. Again, did not play last game, and the game prior to that, she was shut out. And that hasn't happened very often in her Shocker career. She buries that free throw, so she's in a good way offensively, kind of carrying Wichita State by herself.
Shockers going to a little bit of three-quarter court pressure, 1-2-2 zone, just to try to slow the Huskies down. And then it looks like they're back into a man-to-man out of that.
Another 3 off the mark. A joust for the rebound, won by Wichita State, and then Kennedy Wilson deflected it out of bounds with the left hand. It'll stay with the Shockers, trying to pull even with the Huskies. HCU's biggest lead has been 4, so this kind of just been a seesaw first 13 minutes. Underneath to Thompson, who lays it in.
Nice pass by Avias.
Nia Thompson's only 5'9", but she had perfect position and Also, Tracy did a good job of not pushing off.
Yeah, and she's a really good leaper. She's not very big, but she's strong, and she's quick off the floor. She was wanting that post-up. She played, inside out when she was in high school, and she likes to get down inside. She's a great rebounder, obviously, with her double-digit rebounds from last game, but great outlet.
And Abias had it slipped out of her hand and blew the layup. HCU back the other way. That was a chance for Wichita State to take its first lead, and instead Dee Collins gets loose on the baseline. She's got 8.
And just a beautiful example of body control. Being able to avoid the charge, lay it in, soft off the glass. That was excellent play.
And she got a hand on that pass, Collins did, forced a shocker turnover. Collins, in her last 3 games before this one, nearly 18 points and 7 rebounds on 58% from the floor.
Good strong take by Wilson. Nankin did a nice job of staying vertical and forcing the tough shot.
And a little bit of a force by DJ McCarty went in against multiple Huskies in the lane, tried to bank it off the glass to no avail. And a foul on Treasure Job on a baseline jumper by Enya McGuire. Believe it or not, Enya McGuire hasn't been to the free throw line yet this year.
I know. 8 games and not even attempted a free throw.
She'll spot up and shoot a lot of threes, but you'd think accidentally she would have gotten to the free throw line before now. And McCalkin checks in for Wichita State. Calkin only played a couple of minutes against St. Louis. And the first free throw of the season by Enya McGuire clangs off the glass. 5'4" junior from Belfast. Her younger sister Erin also on the team. And that one spins out. Calkin with a rebound. Wichita State still right there within 2 as we approach the midway point of the second quarter. Calkin, a hair-trigger 3 straight away, wouldn't go. Thompson couldn't run it down, and the rebound alertly grabbed by Dee Collins.
And the Shockers' shot selection has not been very good this second quarter. They're settling too much for an outside shot, and HCU is encouraging that. They have defenders in the paint.
Wow, what a tough shot that was. 3-pointer goes down by Collins. She had to run down an errant pass right in front of the Shocker bench, and then she just turned around and nailed a cold-blooded 3. It's a 5-point lead for the Huskies. And so much for the first key that I had for Wichita State was D up on Dee Collins. That hadn't happened so far, and she's seen a bunch of balls go through the net.
Nice
Ollie
move.
in the lane, left it a little short.
Yeah,
McCarty
good
with a
move.
rebound. Calkin tried to dump it off before she lost control, and good job by Danielle Abias to gather before she went up. Abias has 4.
Shockers were fortunate because I think she forced that pass a little bit, but Daniela was able to gather it in and go up strong to finish.
A little step through by McGuire, wouldn't go, and McGuire crawls over Abias and commits a foul on the rebound. Shockers with the ball down by 3.
Live sports.
So far, they're kind of hanging with Wichita State on the glass. The hustle stats have been kind of a coin flip between the two. And so far, the Huskies have held Wichita State to 27.3% from the floor.
Well, and part of that is they're not getting into the paint. The Shockers are settling for a lot of stuff outside of the paint. They only have 8 points in the paint compared to 14 for the Huskies. I would have thought, if you'd asked me before, that would have been reversed.
Teams trade sloppy turnovers, so here we are back on the other end with 3.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Wichita State looking for its first lead. Abias had it stripped, and it seems like Tracy, that on the offensive end, HCU has run its offense pretty well. Meanwhile, Wichita State has kind of sped up and gotten HCU out of position, but a lot of deflections by the Huskies.
Yeah.
A lot of fingertips on balls.
The balls have been very stagnant. It's sticking. It's not rotating side to side. Good
and that
defense.
Is a force, yeah.
Yep.
Blow was left with no other choice than to fire one up, and out of bounds it went with 1 on the shot clock, so that was either going to be a violation or the Huskies ended up with the ball one way or another.
But you can see that the Huskies are just content of forcing the Shockers to shoot from outside. They'll play on the ball, but then they have somebody in the help, and they're okay if the Shockers are going to shoot from outside. They don't want anything in the paint, whether it's on the drive or on through a post-up.
Joe Ollie can't make up her mind what she wants to do. Now we'll back it out. 6 to shoot. Cotton traveled. Yeah, there was a couple of different officials. Carla Fountain and Crystal Apollanis both saw the same thing. So Ancio checks back in for Wichita State. Not a whole lot of substitutions.
No, the Huskies
so
haven't
far,
subbed at all. So Coach Finney's going with their starters, and they're playing the game plan. She's got to be really happy with them.
Well, that's interesting. I'm not sure if I've seen this. We're 2:27 left before half, and a team has not gone to the bench yet. Starting 5 still out there.
And it's not like they're, they've just walked it up the court.
No.
If they've had the opportunity, they've ran in transition.
Cotton with a rebound and couldn't get the second chance point. That's another thing that hasn't happened tonight. Second chance points have been virtually nil for both teams. Sabwa wants a left side 3 and hits. Races Sabwa, doesn't do it much, but she knocks down that triple. It's Wichita State's first one, and we're tied. It's the 4th tie of the game, but the first one since very early, when the teams went back and forth with, frankly, not much offensive success. It took until the under 5 timeout, which was more like the under 3 timeout, where the teams traded buckets a little bit and got going. It was 10-7 at the quarter. Wilson with a crossover and hits.
Good decision by Wilson.
She had 18 in the game earlier against Texas A&M.
She totally set Sabwa up. She had Sabwa out wider, and Sabwa went for the steal, and she made her pay.
And Kaukin couldn't hit, and 2 Huskies fighting over the rebound tipped it out of bounds. Well, Amber Kaukin is kind of an interesting study. Last year, about the last third of the season, she was really the only Shocker bona fide three-point threat. Blow wants a quick 3 off the inbound, wouldn't go. There's Kaukin with a rebound on the inside, and she banks it in. Just getting ready to say, she was pretty much a three-point sniper last year, but she's not only struggled to find her shots, but consistent minutes out there. She's already shot a couple of times from 3, but that layup is good, and there's a rare second chance points for either team.
Yeah, and as she shoots the ball better, she'll find minutes. Part of that is finding her groove with this squad.
Boy, it is
a lot of contact.
Hard to stay with Kennedy Wilson out on the perimeter. And then Kaukin lost it. A steal by Dee Collins, who had a hard time handling it. And now Anya McGuire is going to say, let's slow this down.
Good decision. Didn't really have numbers.
Second quarter dwindling down, and Anya McGuire wasn't interested in turning it back over to Wichita State, and the Huskies not get it back. Foul by Sabwa out on the perimeter. Not the worst foul in the world, though. Neither team anywhere close to being over the limit, and as I mentioned, Kennedy Wilson's tough to stay in front of, and Sabwa, the bigger player, elected to body her up before she got the ball up to the rim.
The only bad part of that is that the Shockers would have gotten the ball back. There was time left on the clock. So with the clock reset, the Huskies will have the last shot of the half.
And they're going to let Kennedy Wilson make the decision here.
Better job by Sawa.
Much better job. That was a tough shot. And Wichita State will technically get it back, but less than a second remains.
Yeah, the only thing they can do is a tip here.
And that's too late. Can't even take a dribble with 9/10 of a second. So even if that had gone, it wouldn't have counted. Interesting first half. Wichita State and HCU kind of trading jabs at one another, and Tracy just kind of waiting patiently for the ball to go through the basket.
Yeah, it was a struggle offensively for both teams. I think
he gets the points from the free throw line, all the better.
Yeah, and they do that by attacking and getting the ball in the paint, whether it's on the pass or the drive. And I also think they need to pick up their intensity on the defensive end. They need to speed them up and be more aggressive. I think Coach Nooner's got to be a little upset. They've only committed 6 fouls for an entire half. That means they're not getting out. They're not really pressing the issue.
And Wichita State on the year, Tracy, plus 2.5 in the turnover margin. So they're used to turning over the teams that they play, especially here at Charles Koch Arena. But it hasn't really happened. They're actually minus 3 in the turnover margin. Huskies will get it first. And no surprise, the starting 5 back out there for the Huskies. And a little stop-and-go dribble. And Kennedy Wilson really, Tracy, didn't even need a screen. She just hesitated long enough and got an open path to the basket.
And let's give credit to HCU. Their ability to control the ball offensively and not panic is part of the reason the Shockers haven't been able to really speed them up.
And that's only the second basket by Treasure Jobe. She came off a 24-point outing against St. Louis, averaged 14.5 on the year. That's a great start for her second half. A little mid-range jumper goes down.
Shockers are in their man-to-man and again out pressing first turnover up top out of their pressure.
Cotton had nowhere to go with it and just kind of flipped it underneath the arm of Daniela Abias, and Abias just walked over and picked it up. Jobe's got another look at it, and this one no good. Flat-footed rebound by Amy Cotton. That would have been Wichita State's first lead of the game. Instead, a bomb of a 3 right in front of the HCU bench. Enya McGuire hits from long range.
And she didn't even hesitate. She pulled that quickly.
32.6% from 3. She's by far and away the most effective shooter, volume-wise and total. And she comes up with a steal. So Enya McGuire with a long 3. That's only the second make for HCU in this game. They're 2 out of 10. And another banker by Kennedy Wilson. She's got 8, and that forces a really quick timeout by Terry Nooner as the Huskies are up by 5. HCU, a little spurt coming out of the locker room here in the third quarter. They've outscored Wichita State 7-2 in the first little less than 2 minutes, forcing a Shocker timeout. DJ McCarty checks in for Wichita State. She had a few moments in that first half. Jobe kind of forced a little bit, left it short, but got it back because Cotton couldn't hold it, and an opportunity for a 3-point play. So Cotton had the ball in her hands with a 5-point HCU lead, but it slipped through her fingers and turns into an opportunity for 3 for the Shockers.
Yeah, great job by Treasure Jobe staying with it, following her shot. The player that knows where the rebound's going better than anybody is the one who took the shot, and so good job of her pursuing that rebound.
Jobe with 7 points. She has surged into the scoring lead for Wichita State and 3 big and badly needed points in a game where runs and points are hard to come by, at least so far. McGuire. Now Wilson for a 3, no good. Joe Ollie trying to battle 3 Shockers for that rebound. Cotton knocked it away. It'll stay with Wichita State.
looked like the Huskies were trying to isolate Collins down low, but the Shockers did a good job. Niankin played her one-on-one, didn't allow her to get deep position in the paint.
And if you joined us late, HCU's biggest lead has been 5. Wichita State has not led in the game tonight. And the Huskies haven't gone to the bench. The starters have played every second so far here into the third quarter. And I don't know what kind of record that would be, Tracy, but I'm kind of rooting for it.
Yeah,
I want to see some history.
I think I'm just dumbfounded. But they played their defensive philosophy perfectly.
Yeah, left-handed banker is good by Joe Ollie. That's her first bucket. And the other thing that you pointed out, too, no foul trouble.
Right.
So there was no need for HCU to go to the bench, and Donna Finney has just left her starters out there.
And see, if you look at HCU's defense, they have pressure on the ball, but other than that, they have 4, sometimes 3, but usually 4 kids with 1 foot in the paint. They're just content with forcing the Shockers to set their offense outside the paint and to shoot from outside the paint. And it's worked out brilliantly for them.
Well, and they should, because statistically, Wichita State's not a three-point shooting team. So if you want to, I guess outside of Treasure Job, let people shoot 17-footers, that's probably a pretty good recipe.
Yeah, but that's easier said than done because it's just human nature. You know, it's human nature to not allow somebody wide open. But they've done a good job with that.
And here's Wichita State trying to change the tempo a little bit, going with a little pressure. But in backcourt, it's beaten, and that's how you attack the back line of a press. Amy Cotton finishing at the rim. Cotton at 6.
Yeah, sorry, Saint. They're just they're so within themselves, HCU. They were never rattled, that little press. They got the ball where they wanted, got the perfect shot out of that.
Job traveled, trying to fake Cotton off of her feet. So HCU went on a 7-2 run. And then Treasure Job with a three-point play. But since then, the Huskies have kind of weathered the storm. And they have, as Tracy mentioned, remained very calm, haven't gotten rattled, haven't gotten sped up.
Shockers came out in a zone. That possession.
D. Collins missed the right side 3. Only 2 offensive rebounds on the night for HCU. Job misfires. She is now 3 out of 8. Wilson with a hesitation. Played through a little contact. Couldn't finish. And Job couldn't grab the loose ball. Anaya Bell checks in for the first time for Wichita State. Job goes out. So now the Shockers figure to look to McCarty and Abias for some offense, although Celeste Blow is out there too. She's had her moments in her freshman year.
Great feed.
And another left-handed banker is good by Ollie. Joe Ollie averages 4 on the year. She's got 4 in the quarter.
And Wilson's just been a master with her passing.
Abias tried one end, tried the other, wouldn't go. I was just getting ready to say, Tracy, with an 8-point HCU lead in a kind of a low possession game, you wonder how patient Wichita State will be from here on out.
Yeah. They can sometimes take, ill-advised shots and shoot quickly, and you have to be very disciplined against the type of defense that HCU is playing. And right now, the Shockers just haven't been able to do that.
Boy, D. Collins doesn't miss very many of those.
No, she doesn't.
She had a dead layup that she couldn't finish. And Terry Nooner wants a timeout. So with 4:12 left to go in the third quarter, HCU with its biggest lead so far.
This holiday season, get the perfect gift for any of the Shocker fans at Junior Shocker.
Wichita State just under 28% from the floor. They've missed 7 of their last 8 shots. It's 13-5 HCU here in the third quarter. It was a tie game at halftime, and the Huskies with their biggest lead on their biggest run. 6-0 run. It's an 8-point advantage. Bell to Abias, and she has it knocked out of her hands. Cotton knocked it away, playing with 2 fouls. And again, there's that relaxed intensity we were talking about from the post players. They just cannot squeeze the ball. Good overplay, though, by Niankin. Got a fingertip on it, and another miss in close from D. Collins. Shockers have got to start taking advantage of that. DJ McCarty going to the bucket will draw the foul. That's Enya McGuire's second foul, and DJ McCarty will go to the free throw line where she's 3 out of 4. Ella Ancio checks in for the Shockers.
Yeah, that was one of the few transition opportunities that Wichita State's had. McCarty just made that happen. She created that.
McCarty 8 points for Wichita State. Treasure Jobe with 7.
Hey, HCU's done a good job on the defensive boards. They totally have kept the Shockers off the offensive glass.
D. Collins leading the Huskies with 11 points, but none here in the quarter. McGuire left side 3, and it crawls in. She's got 2 triples in the quarter, and now the lead swells to 10. In a game like this,
yes,
10 is not your normal 10. McCarty, little floater, and she got it. DJ McCarty finding some seams in that HCU defense.
She's been one of the few that has actually gotten in the paint.
McCarty with 10. Back cut by Collins, had it knocked away from her, and losing it on the dribble was Cotton. She bounced it off the side of her leg. So that's the 9th turnover for HCU. Again, that's still been a pretty manageable number. And Wichita State has no points off turnovers.
That is an amazing stat, because Wichita State wants to turn you up and wants to create points off turnovers, and they just haven't been able to do that.
That one took a tour of the rim and fell out. This jump ball will go to Wichita State. We've got 9 Husky turnovers, have led to 0 Shocker points. They've had to absolutely earn all 29 that they've gotten.
That just shows you, Shane, that the types of turnovers are really important. If you can turn the ball over, if you have to turn the ball over and you turn it over, but the defense is allowed to get set, it's okay. But those unforced turnovers out in front that leads to transition are what just kills teams.
2 point-blank shots for Wichita State wouldn't go down. Bell misses a point-blanker, got her own. And she'll have to pitch it back out. Boy, there is a lid on the Shocker basket. Blow rejected at the rim. I think that was Cotton.
Yep.
Here comes HCU back the other way. Secondary break wasn't there, and wisely McGuire just held it for a moment.
And again, just good discipline by the Huskies. They didn't have a clear look at the transition, so not in any hurry to force it up.
And Kennedy Wilson was fouled on her way to the hoop. HCU leads by 8. They've been out-rebounded by 9. They've been out-rebounded on the offensive end by 9. And they haven't made any free throws. So go figure.
Wow.
And they still lead on the road by 8. Wichita State has never led tonight. That's Wilson's first trip to the free throw line. Earlier, Enya McGuire missed her first 2 trips all season. Boy, we talked about this in the St. Louis game here a couple of days ago. Just when you think you got this game figured out, one thing does not lead to another. Blow cut off. Niankin elbow 3. That won't go. The Shockers are in the deep freeze from the floor. They're 1 for the last 13 from the field.
Yeah, they just cannot, they cannot get the ball to to fall, but they're not getting any offensive rebounds either, except for that one trip where they got three.
Yeah,
3
4
and
or
1.
5, yeah.
Right.
There's a turnover in backcourt. Bell leaves for Blow. Blow with her first bucket. She's got 3 points, and there's a fast break bucket you were looking for.
Yeah, that was one of the first really bad turnovers, and people are going to say, well, aren't they all bad? But some are worse than others.
And that one was the ultimate.
Yep, because it didn't allow your team to set up defense. I think she got away with a walk.
And then buries a 3. That's Anaya Bell. She was a really good three-point shooter one of the years that she was at Fairleigh Dickinson. Hadn't found the range in Wichita yet, but just like that, the Shockers only down 3.
Shockers with a little press, trying to turn up and create turnovers.
And a good contest by Ella Ancio on a shot by Collins, who remains without a point here in the third quarter. Out of nowhere, a 7-0 Shocker run. McCarty feeling it, probably forced a little bit, but that was late in the quarter, and Wichita State will take a 7-0 run into quarter number 4. That seems strange to me, but
me too.
And they do have 7 international players on their team. Wichita State has 5, by the way. But HCU has never trailed. They probably got the third quarter buzzer at about the right time, Tracy. Wichita State was on a 7-0 run. And we've also seen, I don't know about history, but it's something Tracy and I have never seen before. We made it through 3 quarters, and the Huskies haven't gone to the bench yet. All the starters have all the minutes.
At a Division I game.
With a shot clock.
Yes.
And you don't just get to walk it up the floor.
Absolutely. But they've been very smart. They're not in foul trouble. They've, for the most part, controlled the whole tempo of the game.
Shooting pretty well, all things considered. 39.5% from the floor. There's a turnover, and Wichita State just recently turned a turnover into a point for the first time in this one.
Yeah, Dee Collins has struggled that third quarter and came out fourth quarter with a turnover. Huskies need to get her back in the scoring column.
Anaya Bell stepped on the sideline. She hit a three-pointer just a few minutes ago, coming off that Shocker bench. Yeah, Collins with 3 turnovers, Cotton with 4. But again, Wichita State only has 2 points off of HCU turnovers. They've been able to recover, get back defensively, get in the stance, and like Tracy said, guard without fouling.
And they've played a lot of minutes.
Absolutely. That's going to be a thing in the fourth quarter. Wichita State has 10 more offensive rebounds than HCU does, but only 6 second chance points. So it's really been a weird statistical game for both these teams. That's going to stay with HCU. And you get the feeling that the Huskies are kind of hanging by a thread right now.
Right.
They need something good to happen for them. 5 seconds to shoot.
The Shockers have turned up the defensive intensity. They're getting their hands on a lot of balls, a lot of tips.
Wilson, little contact at the rim, didn't get a call, and Wichita State back the other way.
That was a good job by Ancio, though. She stood vertical. She didn't leave the
whistle
ground.
a foul. If there was an opportunity to refuse a foul, that would have been at the time. McCarty just kind of had a little touch pass to Ancio that might have led to a layup, but she was bumped.
Yeah, can you refuse fouls?
No, not in basketball you can't.
And on the offensive end, I meant.
So the foul was on Wilson. The basket goes to Wichita State. And the Shockers are within 1 for the first time in a long time. Celeste Blow now with 5 points after that last bucket.
And you wonder if some of the turnover issues for HCU is a little fatigue.
A couple of different players got their fingertips on that missed three-pointer by Cotton, and now a foul in backcourt. That's McGuire's third. Wichita State with a chance to take its first lead of the night.
Oh, and we're going to get a
sub.
First substitution.
If not for Enya McGuire's third foul, we might have been able to at least get midway through the fourth. But now both these teams have bigger fish to fry than to see that. We got a ball game. Niankin, and that's a blocking foul on Cotton, and that'll be her third foul. So we might see more than one sub here in the next couple of minutes.
Well, and Coach Penny still has 4 timeouts left. So if she needs to take a timeout to give her team a rest, she can do that.
It's Hannah Fields. She is the first sub that comes in for HCU. She's a true freshman from Norman North High School in Oklahoma. Niankin without a point tonight.
I can't see McGuire staying out too long.
She's really been the quarterback of this offense along with Kennedy Wilson. One of those two players has had a lot to say with what happens on the offensive end. Niankin spins out both free throws. So the Shockers had 2 tries to take their first lead and couldn't do it. So with McGuire out, it's now up to Kennedy Wilson. It's a bit of a mismatch with Collins working on Ancio on the perimeter.
Yeah, I think they need to clear out and let her go one-on-one against Ancio.
She got an open look for 3, wouldn't go down, and Ancio's provided some good minutes for Wichita State off the bench. That's her 7th rebound. 13 minutes off the Shocker bench for the Wichita native, Ella Ancio. Blow, right side 3, no good. Ancio kept it alive, but it'll go to HCU. So 2 times down the floor, the Shockers had a chance to take a lead. And Terry Nooner asking for a little bit more pressure in backcourt. Maybe try to speed up the freshman Fields right there, who drew a double team. Three and a half minutes into the fourth quarter.
Good job by HCU breaking the press.
Right side 3 was a brick, too hard. Shockers with a rebound. D. Collins, by the way, in the second half is 0 for 5 from the floor. She's been stuck on 11 points since halftime. Blow all the way to the basket. She scores. Wichita State finally did it. 4 minutes into the fourth quarter, the Shockers take their first lead, and Celeste Blow has 7, working on 8.
Great job by Celeste. She just lowered her head, was not going to be denied. Split and then had the strength to cradle the ball in and split the defenders and score +1.
So that's 4 fouls in the quarter now for HCU as well. Shockers are pretty pedestrian, 6 of 12 from the line, so they have to settle for a 1-point lead.
And that's 4 fouls on Cotton, and HCU cannot afford to lose her.
6 points and 10 rebounds, but 4 fouls on number 12.
Great
good cut
feed
to the basket,
yep.
And a great feed by Wilson, as Tracy mentioned. There's Collins' first basket of the second half.
Wilson set that up, but Collins just did a nice job of reading the defense and slice. That's what happens when you play together for 6 years.
Yeah.
You kind of know each other.
Well, and 9 years going back through high school, too. They went to the same high school. Tove Caesar comes in, freshman from Stockholm, Sweden, number 13 for HCU. So there's 2 subs here in the fourth quarter. Blow, fades, fires, and it crawls out. The rebound goes to Collins.
You know, and Shane, that's really hard for a player to come off the bench. Didn't get in the first half, didn't get in the third quarter, to come in and, ask to be in a tight game. That's big.
And the first time she
Wow.
touches it, she nails a three. Tove Caesar.
That is not an easy thing to do. I can tell you as a former player, that is not easy to be sitting that long whole time and to knock down a three. Good for her.
Whistling a foul on the other end. That's 5 in the quarter on the Huskies, so the Shockers in the bonus the rest of the way. It's a 4-point HCU lead here in the fourth quarter. Timeout on the floor. Trying to crawl above 500. 4-4 coming into this one. They're going to have to rally to do it. And the win against St. Louis the other night was the 400th at Charles Koch Arena, what used to be Henry Levitt Arena, the Roundhouse Renaissance. And now it's Charles Koch Arena, and Terry Nooner's bunch got to celebrate at midcourt after beating St. Louis in emphatic fashion, 78-59. A much different game here tonight. DJ McCarty's first of 2 free throws crawls in. So the Shockers have had a tough time from the floor. They're 28.3%. And not a lot better from the free throw line. They're now 7 for 13, but an offensive rebound for Wichita State. But the officials let them play on, and HBU comes out of there. So 1 out of 2 for McCarty. And midway through the fourth, HCU hanging on to the 3-point lead.
But if they can generate points from the free throw line, since it's been hard from the field, that will bode well for the Shockers.
Fields and Caesar, 2 subs that have come in here in the quarter, still out there. A quick 3 to beat the shot clock, and it did in theory, but didn't draw any iron, so Fields was forced to fire up a prayer.
I'm kind of surprised Coach Finney hasn't come back with McGuire with 4 minutes left. McGuire only has 2 points. Or I'm sorry, 2 fouls. And I thought she might come back with her.
Good catch by Abias.
Yes.
I don't know what was better, the pass by Niankin or the fingertip grab by Abias.
The catch was pretty impressive.
HCU, I'm sorry, still up, but now it's just 1. Shockers led very briefly a couple of moments ago. And a shot to the mouth, apparently, to D. Collins. Didn't see what happened there, but Collins was holding her face somewhere.
I think they might have to go to the monitor for that.
Is it Joe Breach in here?
The swipe up by right there.
Yep.
Must have seemed nothing.
Inconclusive, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Left side 3 is no good. Offensive rebound, though, by Caesar. Just getting ready to say that would have been a really unfulfilling trip down the floor for HCU if Collins got poked in the eye and you end up with no points at all. And instead, Kennedy Wilson rescues the Huskies with a banker. She's got 10.
Kennedy's just been so patient when she's attacked the basket. She really sets up her defender, and the minute that her defender goes for a steal or takes her feet out of proper position, she attacks. Yep, she did.
Turnover number 16 for Wichita State. And that's kind of negated a plus 14 rebound advantage for the Shockers. Consider only 2 players have come off the bench for HCU, and the Huskies have only turned it over a dozen times. Quick 3, left side to beat the buzzer. It's good by Caesar. Tove Caesar has hit 2 triples off the bench. She's sat over there for 3.5 quarters. And Caesar is now 2 for 2 from long distance.
Great execution by HCU, working the ball. They tried to get an ISO down low with Collins, but the Shockers had brought backside help, and they switched the ball, reversed the ball quickly, and Caesar knocked down the open 3.
And Caesar helping out defensively.
Yep.
On the other end of the floor, knocked away a pass down to the post for Wichita State. Again, keep in mind, HCU over the limit in fouls. Wichita State hasn't fouled at all in the quarter. And that's good and bad news.
Right.
I'll tell you about that a little bit long, when we get a little bit further along. Blow with a quick 3. Wouldn't go. 2 Shockers underneath. Thompson blows the layup. And a whistle and a foul. So Bias will go to the free throw line.
Sorry, Shane. That was a set play for Blow. They ran, some people call it the elevator play, where they bring Celise across the floor, and then they shut the wall to open her up for that 3.
Well, here's the good news for Wichita State when it comes to the foul issues. They're shooting free throws for the next 2:07. So if you can take advantage at the free throw line, you score with the clock stopped.
Yes.
On the other hand, with Wichita State having committed 0 fouls, as we get inside a minute and a half, Tracy, and you feel like you've got to foul, you got to foul 4 times before you even get HCU into the bonus.
So defensively, they just need to pick up the intensity. They need to go for the steals. It hasn't been a tightly called game, so they can afford to be, ultra aggressive.
I was just getting ready to say, be handsy if you have to, and if you get away with it, all the better. So there's one. It'll be Hannah Fields, the true freshman, to trigger it in. These are pressure-packed minutes for Caesar and Fields, both freshmen for HCU. Timeout on the floor with a little bit over 2 minutes left to go in this one. Wichita State led 38-36. They were a tournament team last year as well.
And Kansas, I believe, is ranked 13th in the recent poll, women's basketball poll.
And HCU is only a year or so removed from being in the championship game of the Southland Conference, knocking on the door, going to the NCAAs themselves. But they've been to the NIT in recent history, HCU has. The possession arrow, in case you're curious, favors Wichita State. And again, only 1 foul in the quarter as we're under 2 minutes. Here comes a double team from Thompson. Now Caesar dribbles into trouble, and maybe sensing that, Donna Finney, with her freshman 55 feet away from her, she couldn't yell at her, calls the 30-second timeout. There's 1 timeout remaining for not a moment too soon, because that was a snap of the fingers away from a turnover. You could see it coming. And
it would have been a turnover for an easy transition bucket. So in that situation, you'd rather have her get a 5-second call or a tie-up in that situation.
Fingertip catch by Collins on the inbound, and she gives it up to Kennedy Wilson, who stumbles, no call, and that is just going to be a turnover. And I got to say, for the entirety of this game, Tracy, you got to really commit a good, hard, solid foul to get a call. I mean, Carla Fountain, the referee, stops play just for a moment.
I think she asked for them to put 1:41 on the game clock.
Here comes Amy Cotton back into the game for HCU. 2-possession game. McCarty, a little floater, left it short. Offensive rebound and putback. There's a rare second chance point for Wichita State as Abias has 9 points. Now it's a 1-possession game. 1:25 left. And late coming over is Celise Blow. But again, not the worst thing in the world. That's 2 fouls now in the quarter with 77 seconds left. And Inya McGuire has been sitting over on the HCU bench for a long time. They're putting a lot of faith, or Donna Finney is anyway, putting a lot of faith into some younger players that sat for the first 3 quarters.
And I don't know if part of that is because she wants a little height on the perimeter, you know, because Shockers are in this trapping defense.
When you think Wichita State now just has to try to guard without fouling this deep into the shot clock, and they force a turnover. There's one of the inexperienced players. Actually, I think that may have been Joe Ollie. Yeah, although she's only a sophomore, but she had played virtually every minute in the first 3 quarters. So a timeout on the floor taken by Terry Nooner. This will advance the ball into the front court. Shockers down 3. But
I think they've caused, you know, Houston Christian to take some quick shots. And, you know, that it's caused some turnovers, and it's caused them to be out of sync offensively.
Well, first things first for Wichita State, they need points here on this trip.
Right.
They're in the double bonus, so they'll go to the free throw line if they get fouled.
Elevator play for Job, and then looking for an ISO for Abias, but the HCU did a really good job defending that particular set.
And a travel by Job. I don't know about that. She looked like she tried to make a 2-step catch, little jump, but Job called for a travel, and that is a killer. With 41.2 left.
Yeah,
I've seen worse, put it that way. Not called, but.
Right.
So now Wichita State's in a little bit of a bad way. They got to burn up a couple of fouls if they can't get a knockaway here.
So if you're HCU, you want to, have everybody up, put somebody in the middle of the floor.
That's Niankin's 3rd foul, so ideally from here on out, somebody else would need to foul to get Wichita State a little closer to putting HCU in the bonus. And keep in mind, HCU doesn't have any free throw makes in the entire game tonight. And now the Huskies are going to have to use up their last timeout. So things are really getting interesting now. No more Husky timeouts. Whoever goes to the free throw line, if a Husky does, will do so without any success from there at all tonight.
Who do you foul? You know, you obviously can foul
Ollie, if she's still out there. Yeah. Kennedy Wilson's good, not great. She's a 71% foul shooter. And Dee Collins is a 70% foul shooter. So there's a quick foul by Wichita State. That's 4. Now you go for a steal and maybe give it 4 or 5 seconds to try to turn something into a turnover. And look at there.
Out of bounds.
McGuire stepped on the sidelines. So that's why you don't foul immediately. Once you get to 4 fouls, you let it play out a little bit. And sure enough, McGuire stepped on the sideline.
Yeah,
her facial expression was exactly the same as Donna Finney's. Couldn't believe it. Kaukin comes in for Wichita State.
I think Coach Finney felt that McGuire got pushed, which caused her to step out of bounds. Part of that is they set up that initial offensive set, and they were too close to the sideline. They needed to spread that out, and so they had a little room to work.
Kaukin wants a 3 straight away, short. And it's going to stay on this end. Well, I was going to say, first of all, if you don't get a quick 3, you need to shoot quick enough to where you can get an offensive rebound, and the Shockers got the best of both worlds there. And I believe this is going to be the last timeout of the game, so both teams have exhausted their timeouts. And with 18.3 seconds left, they're 1. The only 2 makes are from Anaya Bell, who's not out there, and Raisa Sabwa, who had that fairly early first half 3. Blow took about 5 seconds to decide whether she was going to shoot or give it up to McCarty, and DJ McCarty double dribbled.
Great defense there. by Wilson. She played that perfectly.
Now Wichita State is really behind the 8 ball. Didn't get a shot off. Turned it over. Need an immediate steal.
Yeah, they got a foul right away if they don't get a steal. So I would face guard here. They've decided to go obvious on the ball, and then they're going to face guard, but you just cannot let them catch. They're out of timeout. Oh no, they have one timeout, out of timeout. So.
And to the free throw line will go Amy Cotton. She is 3 of 6 from there.
Yeah, I don't think that's exactly the person Coach Finney wants at the line at that time, but she did a good job of coming to the ball because they were close to getting a 5-second call.
Maybe even a live ball turnover out of the timeout is better than a 5-second call, but they got the best of both because Cotton came to the ball, drew the foul, and has an opportunity to make a 2-possession game, and she did.
And Cotton saying, what does statistics mean when I'm a competitor and it's, you know, the game's on the line, I'm going to knock them down. And she sure did. Nothing but net.
8 points, 10 rebounds. Cotton played a handful of minutes with 4 fouls. And Wichita rebounds. And yet they've only gotten 4 points off turnovers. And the second chance points for Wichita State, only 11 on those 20 offensive rebounds. Lob to Abias. She lost it going up. It's a well-designed play, but the Shockers wasting too much time. The 3 straight away wouldn't go, and that's it. Credit HCU. The Huskies get their first road win of the year. They slug it out with Wichita State and survive here at Charles Koch Arena.